Hello, I'm Caroline Searcy. Welcome to the final Thoroughbreds Are Go for Series 1. Coming up, we revisit Maisie, the retired broodmare, returned to a life under saddle with her new owner, Kiara Hunter, at Sydney Centennial Park. Two graduates of the TBA Fast Track course, James and Jamie, embarking on their new careers at Yarraman Park Stud, home of champion Australian sire I Am Invincible, putting into practice what they've learned about best thoroughbred care. And runner-up in the dedication to racing category at the Australian Stud and Stable Staff Awards, Ian Ginger Smith in Arrowfield Stud Strappers Stories. That's all coming up on Thoroughbreds Are Go. Racing Victoria's Reset program assists thoroughbreds who need some extra help to find a new home. Maisie, who we featured some time ago with Racing Victoria's accredited retrainer Lou Aby, the recent winner in the Australian Stud and Stable Staff Awards in the Thoroughbred Care and Welfare category. And now we see Maisie with Kiara Hunter at Centennial Park in Sydney, proving a retired broodmare can transition into a new life in the equestrian world.
Maisie is the first horse that I bought. I bought her with my own money and straight out of school, and yeah, I mean, she's the reason I have the career I do now, really. I got into university and then sort of decided I didn't want to do it, and I'm working with horses now, so yeah, she really sort of changed my whole life around.
These sort of horses, to look at a 9-year-old mare that hadn't been ridden for 6 years, that was chestnut, they're probably not, everyone's not jumping up and down to try to take that kind of horse.
I see her every day for hours on end, and I spend time with her, and she really is sort of a result of my own riding, and I just love being able to come in and see the progress that she's gone under and see her, so how confident she is in her abilities and how much she's improved, and it's just yeah, it's really nice to see. I love the relationship that we've built together, and you know, riding her and having the conversations that we do and the things that we get up to. It's just yeah, she does mean a lot to me.
It's been fabulous to see you on Maisie here today, who we featured some time ago as a broodmare straight out of a paddock. She's come an awfully long way since then, hasn't she?
She certainly has, yeah. It's crazy to look at like photos and videos of her, of what she used to look like, and compared to now, I mean, she just looks like a completely different horse, really.
Tell us a bit about your background. Have you worked with thoroughbreds before?
I rode for a long time, like growing up, and just decided I wanted to own my own horse, and as soon as I got out of school, I purchased her. So she's the first horse I've ever owned, first thoroughbred I've ever owned, but I've always had a soft spot for the off-the-track thoroughbreds. I like working with them, and I like seeing the reward of training them and seeing the progress. I think it's a good experience.
You're the second home since Lou Aby, who just recently won the Australian Stud and Stable Staff Award for Thoroughbred Care and Welfare. She retrained her from the paddock originally through the Racing Victoria Reset program, but she did have another owner first. So it's interesting, isn't it? They don't necessarily all land in a forever home. Often they do then need to move to someone. How do you find that you get on with her? What's the relationship like?
Well, we're both quite similar, actually. We can both be a bit stubborn and a bit, yeah, we argue a bit sometimes. But I've always really liked the mares. I think she's such a smart horse, and it's really good fun riding her. Like, we just have the best conversations. Like, it's very yeah, really entertaining, and also just really rewarding to see when I get it right. Then she tells me, and when I get it wrong, she also tells me. So, but yeah, I really get along with her well. I think she's a really good, smart horse, and she's very rational, and yeah, it's really good fun riding her.
The mares, you know, they have a level of bravery and courage. They particularly say polo, they'll throw themselves in there, but they're also careful too, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I found with her, with cross-country schooling, I actually didn't have a lot of cross-country experience at all. I've never done an event, and I know she didn't have much either, but I've taken her schooling 3 or 4 times now, and she hasn't refused on me once out cross-country. She absolutely loves it, which I was quite surprised by. I thought she would be a bit spooky and a bit looky, but yeah, she really was in her element and she loves it. It's one of our favourite things to do now, and we've schooled a couple 95 jumps and through water, up banks and ditches and everything, and yeah, she's so brave at doing that. But yeah, she's very calculated in what she does, and she thinks about what she's doing. She doesn't really just throw herself at stuff and hope for the best. She's really smart. She thinks about her feet, and yeah, it's just the best feeling, like riding her. She's got that really good mix of, as you said, being brave and then also quite careful. And
what were you teaching her? What were you doing with her? You know, the vision that we have of you filming her in the arena, and you know, between you're walking her out on a long loose rein, and then you know gathering her up. What are you sort of teaching her with sort of everything you do? You're constantly sort of asking her something, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's a lot of compromise as well when I ride her. Like, I know that she likes to go around on a long rein and have a stretch, so I always start out doing that, and I usually end on that too. And usually, like in the middle of a ride as well, if she's been working quite well, like in the trot and the canter, maybe a bit more, I'll get her a bit more collected, and then I'll trot around on a loose rein again and let her have a break, because I know she likes that. So a lot of when I'm riding her, it's finding what works for her and then pushing it a little bit further and getting a result that I like, and then coming back and giving her a reward and giving her a break and a pat, and then yeah, it's a lot of sort of compromise.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And we saw Neve Darcy, the daughter of English auctioneer Jonathan Darcy, and Alicia here with another horse as well, a stock horse. But it's really interesting seeing these horses that, you know, they can come from paddocks and they're actually quite happy to be boxed. A lot of them, aren't they? It actually kind of suits them.
Yeah, well, I'm quite surprised actually that Maisie's coped really well with being in the stable. I mean, obviously coming from the life that she had, which was out in a big paddock being a broodmare, and then to come into a place like this, which is a stabled environment and quite busy, she actually is quite content being here. And as well, I work here, so I can see her as often as I want. But yeah, it's good to manage it with like getting them out of the box a lot, like for a couple hours during the day, and also sending them on holidays. I have one of my close friends has a nice property down in Berry that I can send Maisie to whenever I want. So yeah, it's good. But yeah, for Maisie, I think she's actually quite happy being here. There's a lot of stimulation in this environment, and you can do a lot of different stuff with them. And yeah, no, it's a good thing to be able to do.
I mean, she raced 3 times. She didn't win or place, unfortunately, but she's fascinating. She's by Big Brown. Marisa Brown was her race name, bred by Yarramalong up in Queensland. By Big Brown, but she's out of a mare whose grandfather was Masqué. You can see a lot of Masqué in there. It's really interesting, I guess, for people in the racing industry to see these horses. You know, they're slightly different, but they're still thoroughbred through and through, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it must be unusual. Like, even one of my friends just moved here with a racehorse called Regal Stage, who, I mean, he was a massive racehorse, much better than Maisie was. And yeah, even seeing him now doing dressage out in the top arena, it's like, it's such a different career for them, but they're just so versatile, and being able to see them in this new environment with a new career, and yeah, they all do such a good job of it. So yeah, it's great to see.
And you've had success already. You've only had, I think, just the initial dressage outing. Yeah. Tell us about that. Yeah, well, I've
only done a handful of competitions with Maisie, but yeah, the most recent one was that local dressage night just here at home at Centennial Park. And yeah, I went in with not many expectations, just to get her used to the environment. It's quite busy. There's a lot of people. There's a sausage sizzle, like with a barbecue, so it can be a lot for them. But she was great. We ended up coming first in our prelim test, and yeah, we got some really, really nice comments, and they said she was a very nice horse, and yeah, it was a great experience.
Do you have an interest in the racing industry at all? Does it make you sort of be more interested in actual racing and maybe getting a job in the industry, given the fact that you're riding a thoroughbred and you're so close to Randwick? Is it something you look at as a career, given your proficiency with thoroughbreds?
I sort of thought about it a bit, like coming out of school, because it is like close to home, and I knew a lot of people that did work on the track. With the job now, I do quite like teaching kids how to ride, and I do like doing it. It's quite convenient for me. I really haven't thought about going into the industry that much. I don't follow racing a lot, but obviously, like when I bought Maisie, I became quite interested in the reset program. I mean, I searched all over like social media, like Facebook and Instagram, and found all the old videos of Maisie, and ended up following a couple pages, yeah, like the off-the-track organisations, and I like seeing the stories of the horses coming off the track. So I have that involvement, I guess, that I found.
Yeah, and it's interesting, isn't it? Because it is about trying to get racing owners to connect with the equestrian world, isn't it too?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've never spoken to Maisie's old trainers or anything, but I know a lot of people who have off the tracks. There's a lot of off the track thoroughbreds in Centennial Park, and I know a lot of them have been in contact with the trainers, and they send them updates all the time and photos and videos. And yeah, no, it's great, and especially the organisations that can help out with doing that sort of thing. I think it's really cool. It's good to see.
And what would you like to do with Maisie? What sort of, so you said you've done some cross-country schooling. What's sort of the aim with her?
Well, the goal was show jumping, actually. I wanted to show jump her. But I just sort of found, since owning her, I really like just doing a bit of everything, and now I think I have to do eventing, considering how much she likes cross-country. I feel like it would be a bit of a waste if I didn't, but yeah, no, I've spent a lot of time working on her dressage, and now I really like dressage as well, so yeah, it's yeah, a bit of everything is great, and I just go to whatever I can, really. I might have an event coming up. I might be going to Denman Horse Trials, so that will be exciting, and that'll be our first event together, and yeah, so I'm pretty easy with her, really. I like doing all of it. Yeah,
I mean, Thoroughbred Sport Horse and Thoroughbred Spring Fair, there are thoroughbred only events, for whether it be showing or dressage or show jumping, etc. Does the incentive of, you know, some extra prize money to help pay for Maisie, is that something that attracts you to certain events?
Absolutely. I mean, I know a lot of show jumping shows as well have the special thoroughbred classes, which I think is great, because then they can sort of be in a league of their own, and you can have that competitiveness among the thoroughbreds, and I think it's a great thing to do. And I know those special thoroughbred shows as well, I think is, yeah, a really good thing to do, to shine some light on the thoroughbreds and, you know, what they can do and get people out and together, yeah.
Just shows that even a retired broodmare can find a fantastic new home, and thanks to Kiara for a wonderful story. Coming up after the break on Thoroughbreds Are Go, we check in with TBA Fast Track graduates James and Jamie at Yarraman Park Stud in New South Wales. After we featured Thoroughbred Breeders Australia's Fast Track graduation ceremony, we thought we'd check in with two of the graduates, James and Jamie, who are working at Yarraman Park Stud, the home of champion Australian sire I Am Invincible. We wanted to find out how much they're putting into practice of what they learned about the best care for thoroughbreds right from when they're born.
The experiences I've gained from Fast Track have been next to none and have set me up immensely for a long, successful career within the horse industry.
James, you've been at Cornerstone Stud, and it's a big move to New South Wales to Yarraman Park. What initially interested you in working in the thoroughbred breeding industry?
I've always had a passion for horses, but I never really knew what direction I wanted to go, whether it be racing, breeding, or just my own personal horses. But after seeing the Fast Track online, I really thought it would be a good direction to go, not only for myself, but for my career.
Tell us a bit about the work you were doing at Cornerstone.
So I was doing a little bit of everything, starting on feed runs, and then further I got into the covering barn and working with the boys there, and did a bit of everything. It was really good variety.
What were the things you really liked in a smaller stud operation, as I'm sure you had to do everything?
Yeah, you're right, Caroline. It was a very small operation. It's hard to pinpoint a single thing, but definitely in working with the stallions was the big one. That's really what stood out.
Your interest in working with stallions must be a driving factor to be working at Yarraman Park, of course, with the champion Australian sire I Am Invincible in particular.
Yeah, definitely is, but it definitely wasn't the main factor. The thought of being on a family-run farm, and especially as prestigious as Yarraman is, you know, amazing people here, that was definitely the driving factor that brought me here. But to have the champion sire is it's just a positive on top.
Do you think your work will eventually be with the stallions, or more initially with the mares and foals and other farm work?
Yeah, I reckon there'll be plenty of variety. In the future, I'd love to get into working with the stallions, but I'm happy to start at the bottom and work my way up and put in the hard yards first.
So what's it like? First day, new job. It's a great day in your life.
Oh, ecstatic. I couldn't be more happy, and I've been waiting 12 months for this time, and I feel like it was just last week I was sitting here going, there's 3 months till I'm going to be up here, but it's here and I couldn't be more happy.
Obviously all your halters and leads and everything going there as well.
Yeah.
What have you learned on the first day from Jamie?
A wide variety of things, gone from feed runs, just learning the farm itself, and just trying to make a lot of friends.
That's the great thing about Fast Track, isn't it? The people you meet, they'll be with you for the rest of your life.
100%, and having the opportunity to meet people like Jamie Griffin has been amazing. Like, he was one of the main causes on why I got into this position, and without him I probably wouldn't be here, and that's just a compliment to Fast Track. I wouldn't have met him through Fast Track, and I wouldn't be here without Jamie, so it follows through. Him doing his placement up here, he had a good idea of what the industry held in this area. Just being able to talk to him every day, and him letting me know what I'm getting into before I actually made the move was amazing. So I didn't go in too blind. He was very open and told me about the industry up here and what the people are like, and helped me get into a good starting off stud that I think are going to teach me a lot and help me grow my career.
Jamie, congratulations on graduating from the Fast Track course. You must be feeling very proud.
Yeah, no, it was a really big feat. Like, I enjoyed it so much, enjoyed the whole course, and the graduation, being there with my peers, was really good.
You've grown up in the thoroughbred breeding industry. Your parents, Greg and Joe Griffin of Lime Country Thoroughbreds, are well known to a lot of people. So you could get experience anywhere in the industry. But what made you want to do the Fast Track course?
I chose to do the Thoroughbred breeders course because I left school early, and it was just a really good way for me to get into the industry, and it gives you a Cert 3 in horse breeding. So I just thought it's a good qualification, I'll meet good people, and it's a great stepping stone to get onto a good stud.
What was new for you that you found exciting to learn?
During TAFE and all the bookwork, they went right through dieting, which I hadn't looked much into. That was really interesting, and obviously we went right through the whole ovulation cycle of mares and everything. Like, it was, yeah, really good. I enjoyed it a lot, just seeing, like, getting a bit more into the technical stuff. It's not all just leading horses around. Like, there is a lot of that, but there is also a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes that people don't really get or don't pick up on. That is something you need to keep in mind, but I really enjoyed it.
I can hear, having known you for some time, you now have a level of confidence. It must come through having to do public speaking within the group.
Yeah, it was good. We had camera crews come to the actual TAFE and do a lot of videoing of us. You obviously had to speak in the cameras for that, and then there's like a big end-of-year assessment, I guess you'd call it, where you follow a horse right through the sales prep and talk about how much it made, what different things that got done in the prep to suit that individual horse, and you had to go and speak about that up the front of the class. But it's very good to get you confident with your public speaking. And
how do you find the Yarraman Park team? You've certainly landed within one of the great family operations run by Arthur and Harry Mitchell, with great people such as Matt Scown and more there to learn from.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. There's so many good role models on this farm that have done various different things. Everyone who you can talk to has done so well with their career. They know so much. If you've ever got any problem, you just go and talk to one of them and you've got an answer straight away. Like, it's so helpful.
And Thoroughbreds Are Go. When we look at staff training, it's because of that recurring theme that the better staff are trained, the better the future outcomes are for our thoroughbreds with the right care from day one.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, it's very crucial, especially for their lives all the way through. Like, if you give them good base skills and if you're slow and teach them well from the get-go, it really does help them all the way through after racing. And it's only getting bigger as the years go on. Like, I reckon back in the day, you just wanted to race your horses, and what happened after racing, it just happened. But there's more definition put on after racing now, and the care of thoroughbreds afterwards, and it's really good for the industry and the face of it.
There's like segments called young horse handling. You go right through that, and it's really good. It just tells you stuff in the books, and then you go onto your various farms and do your weaning and your foal handling and everything. We have one of the best foal handlers and young horse handlers I've seen on Yarraman Park, and Some of the stuff he accomplishes with them is just phenomenal, and it'll stick with them for life. It just sets them up so well because it teaches them to trust you from a young age.
Another issue we hear a lot about is young people hearing negativity about the industry from other young people. But I guess for yourself and Jamie and the other fast track graduates, it's really important for you to push the fact that racing is a great employment opportunity and people really do care for the horses.
Definitely, it's just the sad truth that the negatives shine through over all the positives. But at the end of the day, if we keep going the way we're going, eventually the positives are going to overshine the very few negatives that are there and have been there in the past. It's becoming more of a priority to care about the horse rather than the profits, and I think that's a driving factor in what's going to give horses a good home after racing.
Of course, the fast track team through TBA is outstanding. Maddie, of course, running it. It must be great knowing they're always there to talk to if you need.
Yeah, no, they are so good. Maddie has been phenomenal. Any questions you have, any queries, she's always there. And even with the stud staff helpline, like, it's such a big thing. It gets promoted very well. I would say it gets used quite a lot, and it's just so good because people very often living in places like Scone don't know where you can find help if you need it.
So if someone asks you about fast track and wanting to get into the breeding industry, what would you say to them?
I would say fast track is a great way to get into the industry. It gets you placed on some of the leading studs in the country. It's very eye-opening. It starts right through, like, very simple. It starts, they teach you how to put a head collar on and things like that, which is very helpful if you've never done it before. And then towards the end of it, they go right up into, like I said, dieting and nutrients and everything like that, which is very helpful. So it kind of just teaches you right from the ground, and then it gives you quite a good, like, grounding once you've sorted it all out at the end of the year.
I just want to say a big thank you to Cornerstone. They've been amazing mentors for me, and just the best stepping stone I could have asked for coming into the industry. They've been nothing short of incredible, and they've taught me as much as they could have from such a small base down in South Australia. Having the opportunity to come up to around the Hunter Valley and just experience some of the bigger studs, it was amazing, and it was a good view for myself, not being able to come up here on my own merits.
Where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years?
Ideally, I'd want to get into a managing role either on the mare side or down at yearlings. I really love doing both. I can't actually pick a favourite at this point in time. I used to love the yearlings, but since I've been at this farm, I've started enjoying the mares a lot more as well, so I'm a bit 50-50 on them. Or I'd enjoy working with the stallions at some point. Obviously I'm in the covering barn now, just holding on to the mares, but I'd enjoy actually working with the stallions a bit more in the future once my skills get developed a bit more.
Great to see James and Jamie taking on new roles and putting into practice what they learned through the TBA Fast Track program. Coming up after the break on Thoroughbreds Are Go, Ian Ginger Smith, a finalist in the Australian Stud and Stable Staff Awards in Arrowfield Studs Strapper Stories.
She just had the best attitude. She was a great, kind mare. She was well put together. She was just the kindest mare you could ever have in the stable or be around. And she won 4 in a row. She won 2 at Canterbury. The very first one was Rachel King's first Sydney winner. So that was a lot for a lot of people. Then she won again at Canterbury. Then she won the Breeders' Classic. And that was Andrew Atkins' very first group race. So that was good too. Then she won the Millie Fox, and then she went out for a spell, and then she came back and she won the Premier Stakes, and then she won the Sydney Stakes. She ran actually a faster time than what Red Zell did in winning the Everest. There was a bit of dejection about her not making the Everest, but that's life and racing goes on. When her racing career finished, she was at the elite of the elite. She was the best of the best, and she went through the chairman's sale and she made 2.2 million, which was a big number for a girl from the bush. It just proved that these sort of horses can be found and they can go on and change people's lives. Her first foal was an I'm Invincible colt. He was a tall colt. He went to the Magic Millions and he made 800,000. She has a Written Tycoon colt and in-foal a Written Tycoon. And I'm really looking forward to see what they do on the track, because the journey's been phenomenal. She's taken us on a wonderful ride and she's given so many people so much joy. And just when these foals start to race, it's one of the great things for us stable staff. We do long hours, long shifts, and we become dedicated to these horses. They become part of our life, and to see them, the offspring race, and to see them go on and do something is just exceptional. These horses become their babies, and to see them at the end of it all produce something that's exceptional, these stable staff really deserve these rewards. They get a lot of enjoyment out of it, and they'll just follow them everywhere.
A great story there from one of the most popular stable staff there is in Sydney, Ian Ginger Smith. That's all for this series of Thoroughbreds Are Go. A big thank you to our sponsors, in particular major sponsor Tab, and thanks to you for watching Series 1. I'll be back in spring with another season of Thoroughbreds Are Go. I'm Caroline Searcy. Look forward to seeing you then.